I am a wedding photographer and also do portraits, but I tell stories. That's really what I do. I'm a documentary photographer. And as such, I am going to always be trying to tell a story. And a slideshow is a great way to do that. As wedding photographers, we'll sometimes make books, albums. Sometimes we tell a story on a blog. But photography in itself is a great medium for telling stories. And so one of the tools that we use is slideshows. That's where we can put our images, tie them to a song. And the reason we tie our images to a song is because that song helps to draw even more emotion out of the viewer and help them connect them to those images in a way that you really can't connect someone through the spoken word or even through text, a book. None of those things really have the impact that a slideshow has, simply because the slideshow has the ability to tie the image and the music together, and that's why they're so powerful. Obviously, your song selection is really important in that, choosing the right music so that it can tie correctly to the song, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But one of the greatest tools that we have for making slideshows is Animoto. If you don't know what Animoto is, it's online. It's basically a powerful editing engine that's online. You upload your images to it, and it takes care of all the hard work. And I can make a slideshow in Premiere, or I can open up iMovie or some other program, but then I'm tasked with doing all the work. I have to create the styles, I have to do all the tricky editing, and quite frankly, I'm not a video editor. And so to me, having something do that for me is a far better option. Animoto has put a lot of effort into creating a lot of different styles so that you can get cool stuff for a senior portrait, or you can get cool stuff for babies or whatever, and there's always some kind of a style there. So I'm going to show you all about Animoto and how I use it. The first thing, though, that we have to discuss when we're using Animoto, or any slideshow program for that matter, is the concept of telling the story. And so for that, I've pulled up a wedding here. This was a wedding that was shot at the Grand Canyon. I have highlighted here one of my favorite images from the wedding, which is the bride kind of out there on the cliff next to the edge of the canyon. And I think I was just talking to someone a minute ago about this. Everybody looks at this image and they're like, oh my gosh, the bride must be so brave to be right out there on the cliff. But really, she's fairly safe, because I don't put a bride anywhere that's really dangerous. But where I am, that's the dangerous place. So if she fell off this, she'd break her leg maybe. But if I fell off where I am taking the photo, I fall 1,000 feet. So really they should worry more about my safety than about hers. But anyway, this is the wedding that I want to tell a story for. And so if this is the wedding I'm going to use, I first need to find the best images in order to tell the story. Now, inside of Lightroom, the way I'm going to do this is, while I'm editing the images, I'm going to go in and choose my favorite images. You notice that we're looking at 2- and 1-star images. As I'm selecting, I'm going through, the very first time I select, I'm always going through and starring and flagging. So the flag here, so this flag right here tells me that the client gets to see the image. And then the star tells me how much I like the image. And as I go through selecting a wedding, I'm going to flag and star the first time I go through the wedding. The reason I do that is so that I'm reacting to those images. If something strikes me as, wow, that's a beautiful portrait right there, then I'm going to star it and give it maybe, and you notice that this one's 2 stars. You can see right there that it's 2 stars. And so that 2 stars tells me that that's a really fantastic photo. I reacted to it well, and if I reacted well to it, then my client's going to react well to it. So the first thing that I do when I want to look for images at a wedding and I'm going to make a slideshow is I have to get that number down, because right now we're looking at about 121 photos, which is not going to fit a standard song. And so I need to then whittle that number down. The way I do that is in collections. So I first highlight a bunch of images and drag them into a collection. And the way to do that literally is if you were to select the entire wedding. So I've got the entire wedding in front of me, and you can see that I've got images that are flagged. That's an unflagged image. That's a flagged image. I'm sorry, they're both flagged. That one's unstarred. This one's starred. And so when I look at this set, I'm going to first sort. And you can do that up here in the library filter. I go to attributes right up here, click on attributes, and then I'm going to choose all my 2-star images and above. Once I've got that, that whittles down a very large number of images to a much smaller set of images, but still there's quite a few. So then I'll try 3 stars and see what I get from 3 stars. And it looks like that's mostly the engagement session. So I guess I better go back to 2 stars. And then I'm going to start at the beginning of the wedding. So I'm going to scan down here past the engagement session, which was on an island. And I'm going to go to the wedding, where we're starting the wedding right there. So I start here, and this was a story that was told over a while because we actually hiked with them through the Grand Canyon before their wedding, and then we go all the way to the end. And I'm going to go to the collection area. I'm going to click on this little plus button, and I'm going to create a collection. When I do that, I will name it Wedding Images, and I will tell it to put it inside of my collection set for the Cutler wedding and hit create. When I do that, now I've got all of these images here inside of my wedding images, and that tells me that, okay, there's 96 images that I could use for this slideshow that would help to tell the story. But that's still a little bit too many. So at that point, then what I want to do is I want to start paring them down into a smaller subset. And so I'm going to do that simply by right-clicking. So you can see that I've got Cutler Slideshow already done. But what I would do is I would go in and create one more collection. And this collection, I'm going to call it Final Slideshow Images. And once I've got that, I'm not going to add anything to it, but I'm going to make it into what's called the target collection. Click on that, and now I hit create. And it created an empty slideshow, or an empty collection here. And then I would go through here, go through my set of images that I just collected, and I would just start clicking on them. And if I wanted to add them to the collection, I'd hit the B key. And the B key, or you can also hit this little circle up here, is also the target. So if I click on that, it adds it to the target collection. So I go through a smaller subset of images and I start clicking on things that I think would be valuable for a slideshow like this. And they're adding them, see how they're adding them to the Final Slideshow Images collection. And that's how I'm going to get my images into a place where I know these are the images I want to use. Now let me go through to another collection set, something that we've already worked through. And I started with 32 images of a little portrait set here of a set of girls. See that? So I've got this little portrait set. This was a Christmas portrait, and in Phoenix, it is still green and beautiful in the winter. So I'm going to highlight all of those, and I'm going to move them into a collection. And then I finally whittled them down to 21 of my favorite images. So with those 21 favorite images, I then want to highlight the ones that I like, make sure that I go through and scan and make sure that there's not too many of one type of image. I like to scan through and just make sure there's not going to be a lot of repeats or things like that. And then secondly, I want to organize them. When I'm inside of a collection, I can actually organize my images inside of Lightroom. So I'm going to grab these and I'm going to move this one to the front because I think that would be cute. And I'm going to kind of shift things around just a little bit. I like these two here to be before the family portrait. And I want this little set here, I'm just shift clicking across these. I want this set of her dancing to be before all of this because the final image is going to be the family portrait. So I'm going to go over there. And you know, I just thought better of it. I'm going to take this little shot right here, which I think is super cute. And we're going to use this as the final image to our show. because we're trying to tell a story. We're trying to think of a way to start a story, move through, tell something fun, and then at the end give us kind of a last send-off image, and that's going to be the send-off image. So once I've done that, I simply need to highlight all of my images, and I'm going to go to the export dialog box, which is this little button right here. I'm going to click on export, and I'm going to choose. There's lots of ways that you can export. You can export to a hard drive. You can export via various NIC software or imaging softwares or whatever. But you can also export to Animoto, and this is a plugin that you can download from Animoto. And it basically is going to choose all of the details on how it's uploading and what size it's uploading so that it's perfect for the slideshow. And I'm just going to hit export. And that's it. So now I'm starting to upload these images, and they're going to then be sent up to Animoto. And in Animoto is going to receive those images, and it's going to open up Animoto on the web for me once it's done. So you can see that right now it's exporting a bunch of JPEGs to the correct size. And you can see that right up here in the status bar. You can see what it's doing. It's sending those images to Animoto. And we are going to watch those go up. And as soon as it's done, Animoto will open up on the web for me, and I will then be able to work on those images online. Now, let's, in the interim, while we're waiting for those to upload, let's go over to our web and just kind of give you an idea of what we've got inside of Animoto. So inside of Animoto, we have a series. Let me just go to the front page of Animoto. This is what I've got here. They've got a bunch of different slideshows that I could be working on. I can go to My Videos. If I go to My Videos, you can see all of the videos that I've been working on here. Your account information is here. And then if you wanted to, you can actually create a video from scratch. You don't have to go through Lightroom to upload your images. You can also hit Create a Video. When you do, you get to choose what style you want. Oh, look, I think that Lightroom is done uploading. Okay, see this? Upload is complete. And when I hit OK, it's now opening up Animoto, and it's opening up that specific slideshow. So it's ready. It says, welcome, your pics are here. We're all set. And so now I get to choose what kind of style I want to put this in. So I can choose a documentary, modern minimalist, simplicity, or there's a whole bunch of other ones, proof sheets. And if I click on one, it shows me an example of what that will look like. So you can see that that's what this is going to look like. It's kind of moving around a bunch of different proof sheets. But for me, I want to try my documentary style, which is a style that I literally asked them to make, and they made it for me because I'm very simplistic in the way that I show my images. And so I'm going to hit, that's it. I want to customize the style. So I'm choosing documentary, and I want to customize the style. And at this point, it's going to ask me several things about the styles that I want to put into the show. So I can change the font. For this, I want it to be kind of a playful font. Now, actually, I like the modern font. I'm going to go with modern font. I can change the color. So I could change the color of the background to black or white. I can change the color of the text. I can also change the layout so that when the text comes in, does it cut in like this? Or does it slide in like that? I can choose a lot of those things. I can also change the transition between the images. So I can do cuts only. So it just pops in like this. You can see it's showing you the style. Or I can show slides. Or I can show crossfades. So you're basically choosing the main style of your slideshow. And then also in framing, you can choose to do full frame, fit screen, or inset. If you click on inset, it's actually going to give you kind of a border around every image. So no image is actually going to hit the edge. If you hit fit to screen, it's going to show the full size photo as much as it can. So if it's a vertical, it's going to show you the full image, but it's going to have some black or white bars on the sides. If you hit full frame, then it's actually going to zoom in on every single photograph. So don't do this unless you're doing all horizontal images. And then it'll look fantastic. But otherwise, I go with fit to screen. Okay, so once I've done that, once I've chosen, then I hit done, and now I've got my slideshow. You can see that I've got the slideshow ready, and see how it's organized them the way that I organized them inside of Lightroom. So if you look, the first images are up here, and then as you scroll down, you'll see that the last image is that little hero image that I had chosen, and the family photo is the second to the last. Now, I want to first start this slideshow by creating an intro to the slideshow. So I want some text. So I come over here to the left-hand side, and there's an Add Text button. I'm going to click on that Add Text button, and I'm going to call this a morning. And then the subtitle is like the second line, with little angels. I need to capitalize that W. Okay, so that's going to be my front slide. I'm going to move that over. So you see how I can just grab images and move them around. So I've got, there's my title that's starting. And at the end, I want to add something at the end. Now, I'm going to want to first add a logo. Now, I could upload a logo just by simply clicking on here, clicking on this space. That means that there's an empty space there. And I can either add text or I can add, so if I wanted to, I could just write Jared Platt or Platt Photography or something like that. Or I could upload a photo to be my logo. So you can see right over here that I can add a logo to the end of my slideshow. So I'm going to click on that Add a Logo, and I'm going to click on here. So this is where I'm putting the Add a Logo. Click on that, choose a file. I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to choose a photo. Here we go. This is my logo. It's a little PNG, and I'm going to click on that. It's going to upload that photo. And then I'm going to tell it whether I want it to be on the intro or the outro. I don't want it on the beginning, I only want it in the end, and the background is going to be white. I could change the background to black, but you can see that that's not going to look great because it's on a white background. So that's what my logo is going to look like. I could add an outro caption as well, but I am not going to do that. And then I get to choose what that logo is going to look like when it comes in. So you can see, I can slide it in, I can rotate it in, I can zoom it in and out, I could, and that's really going to depend on your song. If your song is really funky and, then maybe you'll zoom it out like that because that's, real loud. But I'm going to do the focus. I kind of like that focus. Fade in is good, and I think focus is a good one. So I'm going to go for focus and hit done. And so now you can see that I've got a little logo right down here that says I've got an outro logo. And if I had chosen to put it on the intro, it would be up here as well. Okay, so now let's just see, we've got our images into Animoto, and we've got our beginning slide, and we've got our end slide. And I'm just going to go in and hit preview just to see what it's going to look like. I haven't made any other decisions. I'm just going to see what it looks like. And usually it'll take about 15 seconds for us to see this, but it generates a preview. The preview is going to be kind of a real basic copy of this. And here we go. And I don't really like the music for it at all. So that was just the music that it just chose. It just threw some music up there. No offense to whoever wrote Roller Coaster, but it's just not going to work for these little girls. So I need to change the music for this. I'm going to click on this music. So it's very intuitive. All you need to do is, if you want to change the music, click on the music. And then you can choose to upload your own song. So if you need to upload a song that you have rights to, and make sure that you do have the rights to use the song, upload your own song. But I'm actually going to use, and this is a fantastic thing about Animoto, is that they actually have an entire library of really beautiful music already inside of Animoto. You just simply choose whichever song you want, and you now have the license to use it because Animoto has the license to use it. So we're going to go to the full music library, and inside of the full music library, I have the ability to choose music. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to type in Mindy because I know the song I'm looking for. And notice that I've got them favorited. See, you can add a little heart to the ones that you really, really like. And so I'm going to choose this song called Bedtime. Bedtime Song by Mindy Gledhill, one of my favorite artists on Triple Scoop. If I click on it, I can play it to see what it sounds like, so let's hear it.
I could write your bedtime song.
Good. Okay, so that's what we want to choose. We're going to hit Bedtime Song, and we're going to add the song. And now, Mindy Gledhill's music is here. Now that I know what music I'm using, I want to make sure I give her credit for the song. So I'm going to click again down here at the very end of the slideshow, and I'm going to add some text. And I'm going to say, music by Mindy Gledhill. And I'm also going to put courtesy of Triple Scoop Music. And I want to thank Triple Scoop Music for all of the amazing music that they use and that they've allowed Animoto to use, because that's a fantastic place to grab music. So if you need music, you can go onto Animoto and get a big library full of music. But if what you want is not there, there are thousands and thousands more songs on Triple Scoop itself. And so go there and kind of test around and see what music you like. So I'm going to hit save. And now I've got a little bit of credit going to Mindy and Triple Scoop for the music. And then after that, my outro logo will come on. Now, another problem that I found with this slideshow is that it doesn't quite fit with the documentary style. And so I'm going to change my style. So I want to go back to customize the style. And now, instead of customizing the style in here, and there's a lot of different customizations that I can do inside of each different style, I'm going to go up to the top, and you can see that there's a thing that says Style Gallery. We want to go to the Style Gallery and choose a different style. And I'm going to choose Modern Minimalist. Modern Minimalist, and I just need to select the style. Once I select it, then if I want to go, I can then play around with that style as well. But in this case, let me show you what it's going to look like. So let me preview this for you, because it's important for you to understand what each style does, so that you know what options are available and which ones you want to play with. So we're looking at this style, and you're going to see that when I play it, it's very clean, it's very white. I love the little box that comes up. But notice that vertical images go side by side, but it's full screen. It's not giving me any sidebars on any of my widescreen horizontal shots. Okay, so now that I understand what that's doing, now I can go in and play with it. So the first thing that you should know is that I can add captions. So I'm going to come in and add a caption here with Dad. So I'm going to click on Caption right below the image, and I'm going to add a caption. And that caption is going to say, love. And then I'm going to hit save. Now, oh, by the way, if I go in and work on this, I can also click and drag, see this? I can do that and reframe each image so that we have the right image. And I'm going to go in and caption this one, and I'm going to call this one Safety. And hit, oh, I need to move that up a little bit, and hit save. And I'm going to go to this one, actually this one right here, and I'm going to call this one, move it up, call this one Family, save, and this one, I will call this one Magic. And we'll pull that one up like that and hit save. Okay, so we've added some captions in there, and we've also gone in and worked on, and if I double click any of these images, I can add a caption to it, or I can delete it, or I can reframe it. So some of these are all vertical, but here's some horizontals that I need to reframe. So I just need to go in and reframe all of my little horizontals here. And by the way, if you wanted to, you could go and do all of your cropping to a 16:9 crop inside of Lightroom, and then you would never have to reframe, because you'd be totally framed the way you wanted if you knew that you were going to do this style on slideshow. But if you didn't know, and then you just decided, you can just come in and double-click all your images and reframe them to exactly the frame that you want and hit save, and then it's going to fix that for you. Okay, so rather than going through all of them, we know what we are doing now, and so we're just going to hit play. Oh, and before we do that, the other thing that you'll notice that you noticed when I first played it is the slideshow was moving pretty rapidly. And so rather than a rapid slideshow, this is a soft song, it's playful, it's melodic, and so we want to slow it down. Plus, right now you can see that my slideshow is 1 minute long. And brevity is great, but the parents really like their children and they want to see more of their children, so they're going to, rather than having them play it over and over and over and over again, I'm going to slow it down so that they can actually enjoy the watching their children. So I'm going to click on this little gear box. See this little gear right next to the time? It tells me that I've got 3 minutes and 55 seconds of song, but I've only got 1 minute of actual content. So I'm going to click on that gear, and that's going to let me play around with it. I can trim the song if I want, or I can do a manual pacing. I can make it faster, or I can make it slower. I'm going to actually take it two clicks down in slow. And if I hit auto, then it's going to automatically pace it to fill the song. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to slow it down a little bit and hit save. Once I've done that, now I have a slideshow that's paced specifically by me to match the mood of my music. Okay, and remember, I've got my intro with a title, I've got all the slides reframed, I've added a little bit of text in it, I've got a courtesy of Triple Scoop Music and a credit to the musician, and I've got my outro. So I'm pretty much ready to go with this slideshow. So I'm going to title it, and I'm going to title this slideshow Little Angels 2, because I think I already have a Little Angels up there. I can put the date on if I want. I'm not going to do that. I can add a description here. But also, here's really important. I'm going to hide the Animoto logo at the end of the video because I don't need my clients to know that this is where I made it. You can leave it on there or you can take it off. It's up to you. You can also show a call to action button. So this is really important if you're making some kind of a slideshow specific to kind of promote your business, or promote someone else's business. At that point, when you play it, you want that call to action button to come up so that when they click on it, it takes them to a website, takes them to a place to buy something, etc. Okay, so I'm going to hit save, and now we're ready to preview this video. And let's see what it looks like. This, the preview is, when you look at it, it's a little gritty and stuff because it did a really fast job.
I could write your bedtime song.
So now we have much more slow transitions. Notice that there's a lot of white in it instead of black. I think it just works with the whole show better. And then I can scan forward if I want to see what the rest of the end of the song will look like. So we're just going to go to minute 14 and let it play from there and see what it looks like. It takes a little bit of time for it to get to there because it's still rendering. It's still rendering right now, so speeding ahead is cheating. You're supposed to produce this thing and then do it, but you can see that when those little boxes come up, they're really pretty, and they show the photo and then they bring the box. I really like that simplistic style. It's cute. Watch this. I just think that's pretty. There it is. So now that choppiness will disappear once we hit produce. So we like it, we're going to hit produce, and now it's going to save all those changes that we made, and it's starting to produce. Now look at this. See this? It's finalizing. So this little now bar is going to go up, and once it's finished, then you have a lot of more options. The other options that you have are going to be based in upgrading, so that instead of just a smaller oh, it's done. Woo, look at that. All right, so it's all done. Now I can actually speed through this thing wherever I want it to go. So if I wanted to hit play, now I have this is the actual video ready to go. And I can kind of scan through it, bring us to a further. See, now I can just go through and see what everything looks like. Oh, I misspelled her name. Oh no. Okay, so you can see what that looks like. I need to go in and obviously fix Mindy's name. So I'm going to go to my videos. Fixing something that you realize is messed up is just as easy as coming in, clicking on this little gearbox. Come up, I can copy it to make a new version of it, or I can edit the one that I've already been working on. When I edit it, it just takes me back into the same view that I was in before, and I can just start editing. So I'm going to go down to the bottom, and I'm going to double click that right here and change that to a G. Okay, now that's all set, and I can hit preview the video, and as soon as it goes to preview, I don't have to look at the preview, and I can just hit skip and produce, and it's going to replace that other video, and it's going to allow me to then have all the sharing options. So some of the sharing options that you're going to notice when you're inside of this final screen. First off, you can go in and play this anytime you like, right here, just looking at it this way. You can also email it. You can share it on Twitter, you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on YouTube, you can embed it. So if I click on this embed, it gives me all the codes. I get to choose how big, so if I want it to be 864 pixels large, I can tell it the quality that I want it to be. Now, this is important. See how I've only got one quality, it's 360 pixels, or 360p. The quality is not that great. So that would be good for a small video online, but it's not going to be good for a DVD. So if I want higher quality available, I need to come, once this is done producing, I need to come over to the upgrade to HD. So down below, these options are really important. I'm going to click on upgrade to HD, and what I do is I literally upgrade all of these. So I just click on upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. And then I close out, and you can see all the upgrades are happening right now. See that? So it's changing all of this. Now I've got a 1080p, I've got a 780p, I've got a 480p. So I've got all of the different qualities that I could possibly use. And so once it's done, once I've upgraded my 1080p, then I'll be able to embed, and it'll take just a few more minutes to upgrade to the 1080p. But when I do that, now I'm going to have more options, and then 1080p will come in here as well if I wanted to actually embed it at 1080p, which I don't know that you want to do that. But anyway, I can change the volume here. I can change the label on the button on the call to action. I can do an auto start. I can do a loop. All of these types of things. And then once I've set all my options, all I do is go in here and simply highlight all of this and copy it. And then I just paste it into my blog. And then it will be on my blog as a video, and I don't even have to send it somewhere. So this is the fastest way to get your video somewhere else, is just copy that and then paste it onto the blog, or paste it into whatever service you want to send it into. There's also a more button. So this more button takes me to a whole bunch of more sharing options, one of which I use, which is SmugMug. SmugMug has the ability to then receive this video from Animoto, so I can actually put it into the client's sharing page on SmugMug simply by clicking on SmugMug. It'll ask me to log in, and then it'll send it over to my SmugMug account. Also, I can send it to my Vimeo account. So I have a Vimeo account, and I will always send it over to Vimeo because I share things from Vimeo. So all of these are options for sharing and sending out your videos. Okay, so now we have the upgrades are finished. And once the upgrades are finished, I also have the ability to download. So downloading, I click on download and I get to choose now what size and what quality I want to download. And so in this case, I would download my HD 1080p, click on download, and it literally is just going to ask me, where I want it. Now it's saving it, and then we'll have the full version. So let me show you then, let's get out of Animoto there and let's talk about video. Because sometimes we want to add more than just photos into our slideshows. We also want to add video. So let me show you this little picnic that I took pictures of. We call it the Salty Picnic. And in it, we were on the Utah Salt Flats, Bonneville Salt Flats, taking photos, which is a pretty fun place to do a family photo. And you can see that we did some pretty fun photos here. This is one of my particular favorites here. I love that shot. Also, as the sun was going down, we had some fun playing in the sunset. This is one of my particular favorites here. And so we've got a lot of photos, but we also have some video. So the video footage of this is also pretty fun. So if I go to my setting here, and the video, we had some behind the scenes video going on. And so you can see right here, for instance, this is like a little extra piece of video that we shot while we were shooting because this one was broken. So this little scooter was broken. And so this was a funny little bit of video. I just thought that was hilarious. I love it. So, all right, so we've got this little piece of video that we want to throw in. And so, if you upload video, let me go back to Animoto, and let me show you if I go to My Videos, let me show you a job that has some video in it. So here is the Salty Picnic, and if I double-click on this, hit play, and you can see. Actually, let's just, I'm going to actually show you the video itself. Hold on, let me go back to my videos. I'm going to edit this video so that you can see what we're doing here. So I'm going to click on edit. And when I edit this video, you'll see that there's video embedded into those little squares. So you have, most of these are just photos. But when you get down to the end, there is a video. See this video? If I double click on that video, I have some controls on the video. I can choose where to start and stop the video. So it's not, I just uploaded the entire segment. But the entire segment, you see that? I'm scrubbing through it. So I want it to start about right there, where he's entering in. And then I want it to end, see right before I walk in and add some lights, I'm going to end it right there. So I get to choose. I also can choose whether or not I want sound. So I want the sound, but I could also turn off the sound. And then I'm going to hit save. Once I hit save, I have successfully clipped and cut down that video. So I've got my video all set up. I have one other video, I think, in there as well, maybe somewhere. Yeah, there it is. So there's another video here where I'm shooting one of my favorite shots, and so I wanted to show the behind the scenes of that. And I just need to, again, I'm clipping just that part. See, about half that video is gone. Now, some of the styles will accept only small bits of video, and other styles will accept unlimited sized videos. The documentary style accepts unlimited sized videos. So you can have a 5-second video, you could have a 15-second video. Although, be careful, because adding a 20-minute video doesn't make any sense. So you want them to be small. We want those videos to be real small and very useful. So when you're making a hybrid video, make sure, or a hybrid slideshow, make sure that you're really being brief about the videos that you're putting in so they don't start to bore people. So I'm going to show you what that video looks like, and we'll actually watch the video in its entirety because it's a pretty fun little video. And here we go.
I went to see the doctor. I'd come down with the blues. She said that I can't cure you, but here's something you could do. Take out a piece of paper and go sit down for a while and draw a pretty picture of something that makes you smile. Well, I know what makes me happy. I didn't have to think for long, but when I tried to draw it, it always came out wrong. I had a box of 12, 48, and 64. But nowhere could I find that one shade I was looking for. I guess I realized, should've come as no surprise. Crayola doesn't make a color for your eyes. There is no way that I could possibly describe you. Crayola doesn't make a color to draw my love.
Everybody turn around.
Now turn around and look at the sun.
Don't look directly at the sun.
Yeah, look at it.
I think at night they're darker. I looked again for you. Saw gray and black and went out walking after midnight blue. But hues of the deepest skies would be a compromise. Crayola doesn't make a color for your eyes. There is no way that I could possibly describe you. Crayola doesn't make a color to draw my love. Spring green is much too yellow. Sea green is far too pale. Cornflower's way too mellow. So I'll try again and fail. There's no way I can capture the way you make me feel. One look from you is rapture, whether blue or green or teal. No color qualifies. That crayon's telling lies. Crayola doesn't make a color. Hey look, it's periwinkle. So sure I got it now. But you wink and there's a twinkle in your eyes. Somehow I just can't get that sparkle. Those glitter crayons won't make me glow in the dark. Mr. Crayola child, learn to fantasize. Crayola doesn't make a color. Go Marky.
Okay, so that is the video that was created very quickly in Animoto. It doesn't take very long to create something it's an interesting style. It's beautiful. It includes video. It includes audio. You notice that when sound started coming in, it ducked the music a little bit so that we could hear the audio going. So that was really good too. The other thing that you'll notice is that some of those frames held on a little bit longer than other frames. And so you can see that here. The first frame held on quite a while. This frame held on quite a while. You can see those little yellow key lines around them tell you and indicate that they are hero images. Those are images that we want to spotlight. So in order to do that, I simply click on an image that if I wanted to spotlight this image, I would simply click on this image, and then I would go over to the left-hand side and spotlight that image, and now it's going to hang on a little bit longer. Depending on the style, it's interesting because depending on the style that you choose, the spotlight will do different things too. It'll hang on to it longer, it'll do something different in the way that it shows it, sometimes it'll zoom it. You know, each style has its own unique way of handling a spotlight. And so you kind of get to know the styles after you've worked on them for a while. So my advice to anybody that's working inside of Animoto is to go into Animoto, choose a style, and really play with all the options, and just go in and preview. Don't even build the video yet, just preview and see what those options do for you, and then do it again. And if you just choose like 4 or 5 images to do that, you'll really get a quick view of what all of these options will do. You know, spotlight a couple and then don't spotlight some, put some text on some, and then just run it through its paces and see what that style does. And get to know your favorite styles. Don't try and use every single style in Animoto because half of them are not going to be what you want. But the other half will be very, very useful to you. And so my advice is to go through and choose, try the documentary style, try the minimalist style, try the style that goes through the contact sheets. You know, I mean, just play around with them and see what all of them do, and see what the spotlights do to them, see how text adds to them, so that you get a feel for everything. And remember that video will be treated a little different in each one as well. But in this case, I think that video turned out really well. So if you want to unspotlight this, you just simply click on it and unspotlight it. By the way, if you happen to be uploading images that you haven't done anything to and they happen to be rotated wrong, you can click on this and rotate. The other thing that's really useful is to duplicate. So for instance, if I wanted to add another photo, let's say I wanted to add this photo here, which is the photo of our little guy, you know, driving his bike. If I wanted to make a point and add that at the very end, I can then duplicate that slide and then simply grab that and drag it to the end so that he's the last thing that we see. So there's a lot of options there as well. If you have no idea what you want to do, you could highlight everything like this, and then you can click on the shuffle button and it will shuffle it. And then you don't have to make any decisions. It'll do it for you, and you'll have no idea what's coming up next. So that's an option as well. So there's so much you can do inside of Animoto, but the real key to Animoto and the way that it's functioning and what it's doing for you is that it gives you a quick entry into a video. Even though there's a lot of power and a lot of options, chief for me is the workflow. Workflow to me is absolutely paramount because I have way too much to be doing to spend in Premiere or in iMovie or wherever trying to fuss with a slideshow and make it just perfect and extend this out and do this or do that. It's so important to me to get something done really quickly. And so with Animoto, it's easy to go straight from Lightroom, use the plugin, upload the images. Once they're uploaded, Animoto takes over from there. Just simply choose a style, make a couple decisions on that style, and hit go. And then within 5 minutes, I have fully HD slideshows that I can then share. It's very easy to share from there. Simply go in and share it to Vimeo, share it to SmugMug, or download it and put it on a disk for the client, and I'm ready to go. So that is Animoto in a nutshell. Does a fantastic job. There's a lot of options in it. So really, you can't ruin anything, so just go explore and have fun.
And so we have a few questions that came in from you folks at home that we'd love to go through pretty quickly before we move on to our next segment. So first one for Janice E, and then we also had Amy West ask questions a little bit about output. Janice wants to know, can the downloaded slideshow be saved to DVD? Amy wants to know, can you upload an Animoto video to YouTube? And then I'd love to hear just a little bit about how you actually use your slideshows. Are they for marketing? Do you sell them? Stuff like that.
Okay, so first off, sharing. If you want to put them on a DVD, the most important thing that you can do is download them. And so you do that first you have to upgrade to HD, which is one of the options in the option area. And then you also want to download that upgraded version. So you would download the full HD 1080p version. Once you've got that, then it's just a matter of plopping it on the DVD through, you can use a lot of different programs like iDVD Pro, you can use, Adobe has their version of, it's their disc maker, I don't even remember what it's called, but you can use Adobe's version. There's hundreds of them out there. Just need to put it on there, but you're going to use a DVD authoring software to make a DVD out of it. When it comes to YouTube, it's just a button. You literally just click on the YouTube button and it's going to send it to your YouTube channel. So that's easy. Same with Vimeo. And so sharing is important. I don't sell any slideshows.
So these are not something that you include as part of your packages or anything like that?
They're included.
Okay.
But they're not sold.
Right,
you cannot buy a slideshow. I force it upon you. I want people to have a slideshow because for me that's marketing. For them it makes them happy that they get to share it, they get to put it on their iPad, they get to put it on their iPhone, and so they're really excited to have these slideshows and they want to show them to people. So it's good for everybody all around. So really it's it's an advantage to working with me that you get a slideshow.
Right.
And the advantage for me is that everybody gets to see it. Now, I park it on Vimeo. So anytime I finish a slideshow in Animoto, I then send it to Vimeo because that's where all of my content is. And so once it's in Vimeo, then I can share it from there. I have a lot of followers on my Vimeo, which, by the way, is Jared Platt. So it's Vimeo/Jared Platt, and you'll find me there, and there's lots and lots of content there, and lots of slideshows. Perfect. So it gives people a channel to go to.
Which is fantastic. So another question about output as well. Wendy DCM is wondering about whether you can add these to sticky albums, which is something that people use on mobile. So I'd also love you to talk about Animoto and mobile devices.
Perfect. So there's also, right next to the YouTube button, there's the embedded button, and we showed that. But if you simply copy the embed code here inside of your embed video area, and then just go to your sticky album and paste the embed code into the sticky album, now you've got your video inside of your sticky album. But also, Animoto has their own app, and it's on iPads, iPhones, it's on the other devices, Android, well. All those. And so literally, it's beautiful. I mean, that's what it looks like. I think that's a fantastic, it's nice, you can scroll through the videos, you can play them from there. And so I love the Animoto option. Plus you can kind of create the videos from there. So if I had a bunch of photos that I'd put on my iPad, I could actually create a video from my iPad too.
That's awesome.
So I don't necessarily have to be on my computer to do it.
Super cool. We had a couple questions about kind of timing. One from Barney Allen, and 3 other people also want to know the answer. I find that slideshows have so much more impact when transitions match the music. Is there any way to tie transitions to beats in the music in Animoto? And then Brenda J is wondering whether you can move where the caption lays. For instance, can it be at the bottom? Can you talk a little bit about those customization options?
Yes. So depending on the style that you choose, Animoto will do different things with your images. So some of the styles are actually very dependent on the beat of the music, and they go nuts with it, and so they're looking at the beat of the music. Others, not so much. Like the ones that we detailed don't really follow the beat of the music specifically, because I was determining the time and the slowness of the transitions. Right. But other ones do, so that depends. But in speaking of that, the real question is, what music are you choosing? Because you notice when we first pulled up the photos of the little girls, it was playing some, rocker song.
Right.
And I was like, that's not gonna work.
Didn't work for that one.
Doesn't work. I wanted something slow and beautiful. Most weddings are that way. You need something slow and beautiful. And speaking of music choices,
yes.
Triple Scoop is literally embedded inside of Animoto.
Which is fantastic, because Stephen V in the chat room wanted to know, did I correctly hear that Triple Scoop is now included with Animoto? Which it
yes.
is.
There's over 1,000 Triple Scoop songs.
Yeah.
And so that's like $60,000 of music at your disposal for making slideshows that you don't even have to license, because they are already licensed for you. Now, again, if you're missing something, you can go find those songs on Triple Scoop as well. But like for instance, when we went in here and we were looking for a song inside of this little video, when I click on, there's the Triple Scoop library, and that's everything. I mean, that's a lot of music that's available. But
I like that they've even got selections for real estate.
Yes, this is the best song for real estate.
Hey.
But when you go into the full music library and you search for a particular artist, like for instance Mindy, and there were people in the chat room that love Mindy Gledhill, and
yes.
they ought to, because she's fantastic. But I mean, look at it. That's all Mindy Gledhill right there. That's a lot of them, and she has even more on Triple Scoop, just on its own. But it's just fantastic. So. The selection of music, I think, is one of the most critical things to a slideshow. And if you're just using the same song on every single slideshow, I can guarantee you that your regular comers to your blog are bored out of their mind. They're like, oh, I hate hearing the song over and over. They may love the song, but they're going to hate hearing it over and over. So having that many songs, I think they have like over 2,000 total songs in there. having that many songs at your disposal, I think, is critical.
It's huge. Great. So a couple more, just very quick final questions. Tomas Migdal and about 5 other people wanted to know, is Animoto a one-time payment or do you subscribe?
It's a subscription, and you can do it either monthly or yearly. I prefer yearly so I don't keep getting that charge every single month, but either way is fine.
Easy to remember. Great. And then one more from Tomas as well. And this is a great, I think, kind of final question to wrap this up. What's the difference between a Lightroom slideshow and an Animoto slideshow? There are many different ways to use it. So what are the benefits to this versus other methods?
Okay, so there are 3 methods I use. The first method is straight out of Lightroom. And that's usually used at the actual wedding because I've got the images going in, I'm throwing in some JPEGs at the wedding, and I just want to show 30 images and recycle them over and over again at the bar, so that people can see what's been happening during that day. That's what Lightroom is excellent for. And Lightroom can export one of those slideshows, but it literally is the same transition, it's the same amount of time for every slide. There's no way to spotlight something. There's no way to you just can't really trick it out. Right. It's very simplistic. And that's great. It's great for what it's good for, and that's for showing the images now. But then once I want to create something a little better, I'm going to go to Animoto because Animoto gives me the ability to choose different styles. I can increase or decrease the amount of speed of the transitions. I can cut, I can swipe, I can slide, all those kind of things are available. And then if I really, really, really need to do something that I'm telling an amazing story, then I'm going to go for something like Premiere. Yeah. And when I do that, I don't even do it. I have my video guy do it.
Right.
Because Premiere is such a challenging thing to work in.
Absolutely.
But it's critical in certain times where you need different types of fades and a cross and a cut, and then over here you need space and whatever. And there was one other question that I remember being asked, and that is, how does one extend a slideshow, the music in a slideshow, so that it crosses over or it lags a little longer past everything so that you have kind of silence at the end or whatever. Yeah. The way I would do that is I would create black frames. Okay. So just go into Photoshop and make a JPEG, a full-size JPEG that's black, and a full-size JPEG that's white, so that depending on which style you're using, it'll work. And then just simply upload those photos into Animoto, and that you can put them in between any slide, and that will give you like a dead space. It'll give you the ability to put, say, 3 white frames at the end. So the music will keep going, but the images have stopped.
So it gives it a moment to breathe.
Yeah, just breathe. Yeah. Just breathe. And so that's very useful when you're trying to do something with a fairly automated system, but you want to act like you're in Premiere. Right. That's how you would do that.
That's awesome.
There's nothing that beats Premiere.
Right.
But nobody knows how to use it, and nobody has the time to use it. And that's why we have Animoto, because we want to get closer to Premiere. Yep. We want to get closer to great video editing without having to destroy our lives to do it.
So if you don't want to destroy your life, guys, we have an option for you.
Animoto.
That's perfect.